Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so we're here recording a video, reaction video, mainly because me and Kyle here both scale JoJo's, and I'm very familiar with Baki these days, but so is he. And currently, I believe it's Mysterious Weeb. Check out his channel. He does good content with Record of Ragnarok, I think Kengan Ashura, and Baki. Just like theories, what ifs, and like actual chapter reviews. Good stuff all across the board. And so this is his video talking about what if Yujiro Hanma would be in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Again, if you do like this type of video and you like the way he does it, he has more videos like this. He also has Hunter x Hunter and Record of Ragnarok with Yujiro as well. And he recently did Miyamoto Musashi versus Baki, or not Baki, versus Demon Slayer. So yeah, you have anything else to add, Kyle, or do you just want to get started?
I think we should just get started.
Alright.
Are very similar series, especially when you consider the bizarre aspect both of them share. So when you take someone like Yujiro Hanma, the resident alien of the Buckyverse, and pair him up against the JoJo universe, the first thing you normally think about is the Pillar Man. Yujiro does have pretty high Pillar Man vibes, but today is the next installment of my Yujiro Isekai series, getting sent to the JoJo universe. Hope you enjoy. If you haven't already, make sure to leave a like. We were able to hit the like goal on my Yujiro vs Hunter x Hunter video. So let's say 3,000 likes and we may see Yujiro facing Attack on Titan sometime in the future. Also hit that subscribe button.
That actually sounds
Why
like
is Stomp so massive?
that actually sounds like it could be fun.
And help your boy hit
Why is
40,000
Stomp so
subscribers
massive,
before
though?
the end of the year. Greatly appreciated.
I mean, you gotta have Yujiro just show. You gotta just have Yujiro showing off.
Now let's get into it.
Go back to
JoJo has
Aaron Titan, I will rape you.
And poor Aaron. Alright.
two main power systems. We have Hamon and Stans. Hamon is described as a technique and only used in the early parts of JoJo Bizarre Adventure, but the outline of a
Kind of wrong
technique
already.
Oh, is there something wrong already, Kyle?
It's a breathing technique that if you don't already have a Hamon master like present, you can't know it. On top of the fact that it's pretty much the exact same thing as the spin from part 8 and 7. The only difference is that the spin uses, it uses the exact same energy in objects instead of, a fighting technique.
If I recall correctly, doesn't Jonathan need to get, stabbed by a different Hamon user to get Hamon?
No, so he just has, an entire training arc dedicated to being trained by William A. Zeppeli. But again, he's trained by Zeppeli.
Alright.
It takes place over, several days.
Actually, anyone could really learn it. A special case like Yujiro should be able to learn Hamon instantly. So that's the first initial power-up he should get entering the JoJo.
Okay, so I guess his argument here is...
I don't care if he thinks that he's, a natural talent. I don't give a shit. That's not a good enough reason.
Well, okay, so Yujiro has perfect body control, perfect muscle control, and...
That's fine, but he wouldn't know how to do it. So, Yujiro knows every martial arts in the Buckyverse. That's fine. The problem comes in is when people try and assert that he knows any technique at a glance. That's never in the manga.
Yeah, so to add on to that one, there is the Shiori incident. A lot of people say this shows Yujiro learning techniques on the spot. We get an earlier statement in the early Baki manga that states he knows every martial art on the planet. And even in that Shiori scene, Baki questions whether or not Yujiro knew it beforehand. If Yujiro saw someone using Hamon directly, I don't think he'd be able to learn it. But if
if you go further on, Yujiro actually says he knows Shiori. He just never thought to use it because he thought it was cowardly.
That is true. So Yujiro would need someone to train him before he gets... I do think if Yujiro had a teacher, he could probably learn it in a day or two.
If he had a teacher, I might be able to concede that point.
Yeah, but if this guy's claiming that, or if he's claiming that he just do it instantly just by looking at it, that's not how Yujiro, even in Baki's verse, that's not how Yujiro works.
JoJo universe, Hamon pretty much allows people to harm vampires, zombies, and of course the Pill Man. So let's say if Yujiro was participating in part 2 of JoJo, he may be able to fight his brothers, the Pill Man, which of course would be pretty cool. And by default, Yujiro's
that depends if you want to like give them the massive speed advantage or not. Because even if Yujiro like scales from the light speed feat from Baki, there I don't think he's going to be able to touch any of the Pillar Men.
Yeah, so for context, Baki claims during the Miyamoto Musashi manga that his punch moves at the speed of light. So that would just be like arbitrarily above speed of light. I think the Pillar Men have a calculation for like what, like 4 times or 5 times, or well, actually, where did Death Battle put them at?
Well, if you want to put where Death Battle puts Dio's over like 300 times the speed of light.
Fuck.
Is it 300? I think it's over 300 or 3,000 scaling to Silver Chariot.
The point here is that like, so he's FTL based off a statement. They do have some feats you can work with, but even then, like again, this is assuming Yujiro gets a teacher for Hamon because he's not gonna. He'd either have to see it or he'd have to have someone teach you at bare minimum. So you can't just have Yujiro fight the Pillar Man immediately because he would lose, straight up encounter against them. He'd have to be saved by like Lisa or something in order for his situation to work.
There's also nothing about, like, if Yujiro is walking into his fight, there is nothing suggesting that he knows anything about the Pillar Man's physiology.
Yeah, they can just absorb him.
As soon as he tries to punch them, they could just, like, try to simulate him into their body.
They are literally perfect counters to Yujiro's entire fighting style. So you would have to immediately just give Yujiro a reason to have Hamon in order to have a chance.
Mastery of Hamon.
And again, that's like assuming you scale. Like if you scale them relative, I think Yujiro could win. If you scale them, and if you give him Hamon, of course. But
no, you would have to equalize it. Otherwise, the speed difference is too massive.
That
would be very extreme. But stands is very interesting. It's either you have to be part of the JoJo bloodline to unlock your stand naturally.
Okay, so technically none of them unlock their stand naturally at all. He got hit with he didn't get hit with an arrow. He got it unlocked because of Dio's body.
Okay, so Jotaro and Josuke got it. Jotaro, Josuke, and Giorno got it because Dio got a stand from Enya the Hag, who stabbed Dio with the stand arrow, as confirmed in both Part 4 and Over Heaven novel.
And then Jolene got stabbed with the actual arrow.
She got stabbed with the stone that's made out of the same material as the head of the arrow.
Oh, so doesn't she just get stabbed by the head arrow?
No, Johnny gets it from the Devil's Palm. And
no, doesn't he get it from the Holy Corpse? Doesn't he have like a Holy Corpse like item when he gets his stand?
He does, but it's also in the Devil's Palm.
All right, fair enough. And then I don't know what happens with Part 8 here.
I forget how Part 8 Josuke gets it.
But just to be clear, only these 6 would be like next to each other. These 2 are in 2 alternate universes. Or actually, no, I think they're connected in their universe, but they're not connected to this one, so that's where it gets a little weird there.
Or you have to be hit by the stand arrow, at least from my knowledge, as an anime only. One issue...
Okay, so
that's anime only, that's manga as well, and it's also confirmed in the Over Heaven novel. In the Over Heaven novel, it actually goes further on to explain that you need to have potential to actually use a stand.
Well, so what he's saying is that,
which is fine. If you have enough fighting will, like, Yujiro and most of Baki should be able to get a stand if they hit by it, because if you have a strong enough willpower, you should be able to, to resist it. But,
well,
again,
that's not entirely true.
Even in the novel, it's like 50-50 chance whether you get it or not. Because it even says, even if it grazes you, if you have no potential, it'll just straight up kill you.
Wasn't it Part 4 that basically made it clear that you need a special type of DNA or something to actually get a stand?
Yeah, but Over Heaven is basically if you have a strong enough willpower, so it depends on which interpretation you want to go with.
Alright, so just to be clear, what the guy was saying was that his information comes from the anime specifically, not the manga. JoJo's anime, unless you're using the English dub, is almost one-to-one with the manga. There are a few differences here and there, but there's nothing substantial.
The English dub is pretty close as well.
Yeah, so as long as he's looking at JoJo's anime is very one-to-one. I doubt you're gonna get too many people saying that the information's wrong if it comes from the anime.
she is.
The only thing like different with the dubbed anime is like the stand names, which are just the dub is great either for like either the good voice acting or just the absolutely funny meme worthy names.
Arrow won't really be able to hit Yudro or pierce him. And when
That's
you
wrong.
consider
Okay, so this one's gonna be a little bit of a contention one here, but you want to go first?
There's no contention. That's just straight up wrong.
Well, okay, so the problem is that,
No, because like people who have strong skin, like Oliver, they still get like pierced and penetrated by bullets, but it's only skin deep. Even if you wanted to say like, oh, he's stronger than that, well, the stand arrow pierced. I forget what his name is, but he has a stand name of Earth, Wind, and Fire. But he's technically an alien from a different planet.
okay, so you're referring to the alien guy, right, from part 4?
Yes.
Okay, so does he have like superhuman like fucking tough, like, I guess, durability, I'll call it? Because so Yujiro can be cut. Let's be clear here. Miyamoto Musashi cuts him.
No, he's been cut. He's even been cut by Baki with standard punches. Like he's capable of bleeding. Like make no mistake. Like even if you want, like the best example of this is like Oliver, where like bullets go only skin deep. Even if it's skin deep, all the arrow needs to do is nick you. It doesn't need to like fully penetrate you.
I feel like this is a case of like if he accidentally touches the arrow, it'll cut him. If he's actually like catching it on purpose, I don't think it'll cut him because he does know like techniques like Shadowry and stuff to prevent like an actual puncture. Granted, he won't use Shiori, but like
he knows Shiori. The difference is that like when people get hit with the arrow, they're usually caught off guard.
yeah, so if this is a case like part 6 where fucking he just randomly grabs an object and it just pricks him, I think that's a fair point to put in there. But I don't think you can like catch him off guard using the arrow as a weapon in any capacity. Like you'd have to like catch him off guard, nicking him in like an accidental way. But no, like if that's the case, the arrow should be able to, because again, Yujiro can be cut, and this is a basically magical arrow. I think we can safely say it probably have some properties that make it prick you easier. I mean, Jolene's fucking hand in the anime literally like practically blows up after touching the damn thing. All right, let's see what he says here.
Yujiro's personality, I doubt he would grab a stand arrow and pierce himself, as he wouldn't really feel the need of it as...
It depends on where he grabs it.
Oh, this is actually the Legends Revive art for Yujiro. That's pretty cool.
Stands in like a base definition level is your life energy.
Okay, so just to be clear here, if you accept the idea Yujiro gets...
He's wrong straight away. It's not life energy. It's confirmed in Over Heaven, and it's the most consistent interpretation that it's energy from the soul. It's literally like a part of the soul.
You would separate that from life energy?
You would have to, unless like a series uses soul energy and natural energy like interchangeably, like Bleach or Yu Yu Hakusho.
Alright, that's fair. I will point out for the record, there is no argument here. If Yujiro knows Hamon in this scenario, he's only getting Hermit Purple. That's all he's going to get from this. Which, granted, for Yujiro, that's probably for the best since he's a hand-to-hand fighter, but he's not going to get like an actual stand. He's going to get Hermit Purple.
Which is fine, because like you could argue he could probably beat maybe part 2 Joseph and Jonathan, but he'd get rough stomped by like everything part 3 onwards, and even probably some of the Pillar Men.
If you do decide to equalize him, though, this is Yujiro's best option since he fights with his hands most of the time.
Becoming like a fighting representation in visual form with like various hacks, etc. Yujiro doesn't really need it, and to be fair,
I'd be very careful of that statement.
I was going to say, there's a lot of...
Unless you can interact with souls, like, I'll give you an example, like Kenshiro from Fist of the North Star, you're not going to be able to touch a fucking stand.
So the only thing I can say is Yujiro might be able to see stands because Yuichiro was able...
No, he can absolutely see him. He saw his dead father in his soul during his and Bucky fight. The problem is that we have no instance of him interacting with the soul.
Yeah, like the best you could go is you could try and argue power of imagination, but again, we've never seen that like hit souls directly or anything like
No,
that. So
no,
it's
power of imagination is a good illusionary tactic. It will not work against stands, though.
that is a fair point to make. Even like because again, like yeah, we've never seen him hit souls.
Unlike the almighty best power scale there ever was, so let's make my own power system for the sake of today's video. How bizarre one is determines how strong they are. Very ideal.
That's not exactly true. A stand is based more on like somebody's personality.
Oh,
So well, let's be very clear. The way Yujiro is, he'd get a close combat type stance like Star Platinum.
yes. Well, again, like assuming you don't just get him humble and then he's stuck with Tar and Purple, but no, I think what he's gonna argue for is the crazier you are in character is the stronger you'll be in JoJo's.
Uh,
The
Not
Bucky X
necessarily.
Well, he is. Well, let's see how this goes. Let's see what his argument is.
JoJo crossover we have here. Thus, it's time to lay out the bizarreness of Yudra Hanma to get a proper scale of his power in this circumstance. He's outlined as the strongest creature whose male hormone is
Again, like I will point out. So at this point, he's basically already conceded for the most part in like an actual discussion that more likely not Yujiro can't make it. Which, to be fair, is accurate, especially if you count some of the more absurd hacks of
over
JoJo's.
10 times the normal range. As such, he is male and others are not, meaning he sees everyone else in the Buckyverse as females. Yeah, that is a quite bizarre trait, I guess. Pretty high level, I'd have to say. So, for example, Yudro seeing someone like Dio would just see a very thick looking
Okay,
woman.
no, that's actually kind of wrong. So it's people he doesn't see as having as much testosterone as he does. Dio would probably be one of the only people he would probably perceive as male. Because Dio, like, pretty much fucks as much as he does.
Yeah, there's also a thing on the table is that like the whole family.
Again, like the Over Heaven, like, novel literally says, he literally, like, as a vampire in part 1 and in part 3, he mates with several women and has several children. Whether he knows or not they survive is irrelevant.
What I will say is that like the whole Yujiro seeing other people as female is always a weird thing to talk about because then you have to say Yujiro sees his own son as a woman and then he sees like everyone who's rivaled him as a woman, which isn't consistent with how he talks about them or anything.
No,
Pretty interesting.
I'm not gonna lie. That's fucking like nice art for Jotaro and Dio.
His son Bucky has this
Hang on. Oh, hang on. Power Magician.
ability known as like imagination manipulation type stuff, where he was able to create this imagination figure of Yudro, with Bucky actually fighting his imagination and being sent flying to create a mini earthquake. So the imagination form of Yudro is able to send Bucky flying to create mini earthquakes. Then during the real Bucky vs Yudro fight, Bucky literally states, he surpassed my imagination style. Yudro surpassing imagination, you know, quite bizarre, but honestly, it's a little bit more of a flex if I'm being honest, but again, may translate into bizarreness slightly.
Okay, so if you're gonna argue for imagination being a big crux, that's fine. It's the problem that the fact that most stands that are like close range, they work automatically regardless of the user, and they will stop attacks. So even if you can fool the actual person, the stand's not going to be fooled.
That is true.
Described as the undisputed champion, meaning even cancer or AIDS couldn't do anything to him. So, you know, he's immune to, you know, pretty much, you know, poisons or any other
We get it,
random stand
Chad.
ability. I think that is, you know, the clear translation of that referring to the Buckyverse. Even things like viruses, bacteria, even time itself yield to the strongest.
No, okay, so
Yudro.
the time it needs context, we can basically use Miyamoto Musashi as a good base point for that. As in, he can pretty much resist physical aging as Miyamoto Musashi rewound his own biological age. That doesn't mean he's outside of time or ignores time, it just means that, like, time on a biological level just does not affect him.
Yeah, and even then, the word here is perhaps time itself.
So Dio's the one.
And also for context in that scene as okay, so he's about to say the world wouldn't work, but for context, that's Baki basically jerking off his father verbally to someone else, trying to like describe how amazing his dad is.
Aldo just, won't work, I guess, and Dio.
No, stop. That's wrong.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so I already knew he would get this wrong. As I said, this is biological aging. This is not like surpassing like time itself. It's biological aging, and again, we can use Miyamoto Musashi as a backup source.
Yeah, again, like it's not even a definitive time statement either. Like I'm not even sure why you'd like make that claim.
Quite a powerhouse. And
Or
then,
you can even go like the super shitty route and say like it's hyperbolic.
yeah, most bizarre, but again, more of a flex. I've mentioned this in previous videos, but Yujiro can defeat Rock in the game Rock, Paper, Scissors with scissors. And if you think about
Okay, so this I don't understand how this is impressive. He literally just physically forces Baki to turn his hand into paper. Like, so, because again, this one seems impressive, but it's like, that's all he does. Like, he's not beating the concept of rock, paper, scissors. He's just showing that basically nothing counters him directly, which is already in his character and already stated several times. It's just a more visual representation of it. But hang on, we'll see what he says.
how the JoJo universe works, there's a lot of blood-related stuff, such as the JoJo bloodline. I think the Hanma bloodline is a little bit more potent and overpowered. As such, Yujiro may have the ability to just
He
create.
says that even though Stan's like goal experience Requiem, I'd even argue Josuke would probably fucking beat him.
Well, I mean, Josuke would scale faster at light speed.
To stand whenever he
Oh,
wants.
he would. Like, he literally outpaces Star Platinum.
But may choose to not do so. We've seen him throughout Bucky be able to instantly see the weaknesses or any issues people have with their body. As such, he may be able to actually see stands if he was to fight a stand user at any point.
Okay, stop. That's wrong. That allows him to see any weaknesses Jotaro would have. That would not allow him to see stands. But I will argue he will be able to see stands because he can see his dead father's spirit.
Yeah.
As when he fought Baki, as a stand is literally just energy created by a soul.
Yeah, so I'm not too sure like why he went with this route, but
during his time in the JoJo universe. One issue I do have is the Joestars and other stand users are considered like the strongest characters in the verse, but they're not really known as such. You could say in part 5, Giorno is known as the strongest due to being the mafia boss at the end of that. But a lot of the others
No,
aren't.
he's regarded as the strongest because of Cold Experience Requiem.
well, hang on.
It has a causality.
Let's see what he's gonna say because I kind of want to like see what the whole train of thought here is.
Really known worldwide as the strongest creatures around. So there may be question marks around whether or not Yujiro would actually seek them out if he was to enter the Part 3 universe or enter the time span of Part 4. Regardless of what time span, there are question marks around whether Yujiro would actually hunt them down. I do think he would be interested in Part 2 and have a fight with the Pillar Man, but as I mentioned earlier, he should have perfect mastery of Hamon. He is more than smart enough to deal with them.
Stop. He has no basis for this. He has no reason to assume he would.
And just to be clear, even if you have like perfect mastery of Hamon, you still have to deal with all of their abilities and stuff as well.
Again, like no, like even if he had perfect mastery, they literally like even if you want to like exclude Wamu and ACDC, he literally like Cars alone demolished Lisa and demolished like Joseph. It even says like in Cars' backstory, the Pillar Man destroyed many like Hamon masters in the past.
Yeah, so like obviously he's claiming that like Yujiro is gonna win because it's Yujiro, but it's like yeah, just having mastery of Hamon is not enough to beat these guys.
So you should be able to
It literally means like fuck all.
Quite easily. Part 1, he should roll the vampires, vampire deer and all that.
That depends on how you want to scale like Dio and Jonathan. If you want to say Dio and Jonathan are comparable to Joseph, then they're gonna speed blitz Yujiro into the fucking dirt.
Reasoning. And then just the issue comes in dealing with stands or even coming in contact with them, because the world is quite a large space and the stands seem to be more attracted to the Joestars rather than a Hanma bloodline person like Yujo. But again, that may cause issues in the whole
So that's
causality.
kind of wrong. In the Overheaven novel, it shows that people can just be born with stands, as the Darby brothers are said to be natural stand-born users.
Oh, I see.
And same with Oingo and Boingo.
That makes sense actually.
Thing in the JoJo universe when someone like a Hanma
We can we can pretty much assume all of the, I think it's the 39 tarot cards and the Egyptian gods are all natural born, except for the ones that like Enya stabbed with the stand arrow herself, but we don't get confirmation on which ones she did that to.
there. I think it's time to
That's
get
fair.
Yudra higher in the bizarre scale. Let's have a look at some of his facial expressions, smiles, and this whatever you call these throughout the
Okay, so like at this point,
Baki
like
series. A lot of these
Okay, so
are
from
quite
what I've
unique,
seen,
but
he has
simply
no
very
basis for
bizarre.
why
So of course, increasing
Yudro
his
should be
bizarre
able to win.
factor by quite a bit. Each one of them
yeah,
gets
so
really weird. And as the series of Baki has gone on, Yudra's veins have become
I
more
mean,
and more crazy.
so the idea is like, okay, the more bizarre you are, the more powerful you are, but it's like Jotaro has a few quirks and that's it. Like Giorno, a few quirks, that's it. Josuke has like a really big quirk, but that's it. They're not like super crazy hyperactive individuals.
It's not so. So the bizarreness of the story comes from the fact that they can use like these mythical spirit powers. That's what it is and what they can do. That's where the bizarre aspect comes into it.
Yeah, even because this whole scaling, this whole like
Even for part one, it's vampires and then the Pillar Man. That's bizarre because it's out of the norm.
yeah, even like with his own power scaling, like or his own little like scaling chain here, that's not really how the series works. I mean, I guess what is part seven's protagonist like fucking bizarre because he's crippled now or what? Like, I mean,
I
like
mean,
that's like his only like weird trait besides having a mosquito bug fetish. Like, that's his only off trait. That's not how this works at all.
but Johnny, he's only up the top trait if you want to name it, is the fact that he likes women biting him. But like, I'm not going to judge. I like that
Which
too.
is most likely due to seeing more and more people as female. And wouldn't that mean Yudra has just been beating up females for the whole Bucky series? Is that bizarre? Not really. A little bit of,
Uh,
for our boy
I love
Yudra.
hearing the scales try to power scale. It's fucking hilarious.
Let's say Yudra
It's
appears
just-
at a random
it's
point
just
in the
weird.
JoJo universe. It doesn't
Because like he's not even trying to have like a semi.
So he has no premise for why Yujiro should be able to win. He has no premise for why he should be able to learn Hamon.
really matter which
Yeah, I was kind of expecting it to be a little more like, okay, so Yudro has this statement here, or like let's equalize it and see how Yudro would do in this verse. And he does talk about that a little bit, but it's like it's not like what I was really expecting here.
The shit thing is that like I've made more of a premise for why he could have Hamon or why he should have a stand. He's
What would
come
he
up
do?
with nothing, but like
I
his
think
argument boils down to, look, it's Yujiro.
one thing mainly, this spread his seed throughout the whole world, challenge random people. He may eventually fight a stand user and look
This
into that
means
more.
nothing.
Also, I just want to see all over the world. That seems like a bloody fucking lie, considering he only has like what 3 kids in the canon.
No, doesn't he only have? Does he have 3? Because I only know Jack and Baku.
So,
Jack is from Canada
if
and Baku is from Japan.
if I remember correctly, in the fucking Gaiden for Hanayama, there's a mutant child there who's super strong, and apparently he's Yujiro's son, if I remember correctly. So, and he's also Japanese born. So clearly, world here most likely just means Japan.
If he doesn't, he'll just continue spreading his seed, make strong children, and start up the Hanma.
What does that matter?
See, once again, he'll collect some women to make children out of
Don't
that
really know.
he deems are strong, and then we'll have like a Baki 2.0 walking around. So pretty much he just recreates his own universe in the JoJo universe. If anything, if
Nani?
he does,
What?
create a stand
Oh, I'm
user
sorry, I've
son
had
or
a bit
something.
of drink. Did he just say he recreates his own universe?
Okay, so no, what he no, he's not saying it like that. What he basically means is that Yujiro would just be the exact same in JoJo's as he would be in Baki's verse because he wouldn't fight stand users ultimately, and he would just keep doing his normal thing. Like he might encounter a stand user.
That gets him so far, but even if you want to say that he gets through, like, Joseph and Jonathan, he still stops at, like, part 1 Dio, and he still stops at the Pillar Men.
Well,
Like,
no,
even if you wanted to say Cars, even if you wanted to say, like, Wamu and AC/DC, he stops at Cars, including Ultimate Cars, where sunlight doesn't matter anymore. And then if you go through part 3 and onwards, all of the stands pretty much hack stomp him into the fucking dirt. Even stands like the Tower of Grey would be too fast. Yellow Temperance, he has no counter against Yellow Temperance.
well, so no, like that's not even what he's arguing for anymore. He's basically just arguing that, or he's basically just saying that Yujiro just like wouldn't fight these people. That like, oh well, yeah, he would show up and he would just live his normal life. Maybe fight a stand user once every now and again, but it's like that's it. I mean, like,
Well, depending on what stand user he fights, he would pretty much get stomped into the dirt. Like, even if you wanted to, like, take the Stardust Crusaders, even if we were to do the Gauntlet, the only one you could potentially argue for that he would beat is Joseph. Hercules Hurricane Green is too slippery for him to manage. The fact that like he couldn't even touch stands, that you'd actually have to give him the ability to touch them. On top of that, he wouldn't be able to react to Silver Chariot. It's too fast. Same with Star Platinum, as it's faster than an armored off Silver Chariot. And if I remember correctly, Magician's Red should be able to burn him into dust.
I'm pretty sure he's probably got like insane fire resistance, but I can't think of a feat in the manga that he has for that.
Something crazy like that.
Well, does he survive like in Vietnam? Does he survive like the entire bunker being filled up with flames? Like, does he survive that explosion?
Which one exactly you cut out for me?
In the Vietnam like sections, doesn't he like or like in that war fucking flashback? Doesn't he survive like an entire base engulfed in flames? Like, doesn't he like just walk out of that or something?
I think he does, but the problem is that like Magician's Red is far harder than your standard flyer. Like he literally like Abdul has a conversation with Jojo where Jojo says, if I was to throw these broken pieces of jail cell at you, what would happen? And he literally says, I'll just like melt them into ash. To do that at such a close range, because they would literally be like less than a meter away from each other, that would be way harder than it would be for like a base burning.
That's fair.
Who knows? But yeah, that's today's video. I wasn't sure how to go about this, so I just decided to not write any notes down and just...
The sad thing is that like he does good content, but when it comes to verses, he doesn't know shit.
Well, so it's like I haven't seen his other videos, but I will say it's just a little weird that like he went with the whole bizarre meter thing. Like that just seems like kind of like padding. Like,
The problem is that like video, like if he was to ever debate someone on this, he would get absolutely demolished because he doesn't know how to power scale and he doesn't like bring actual evidence.
I mean, let's be real here. He doesn't seem like someone who debates in general, so I mean, I don't think that really matter. But yeah, no, I will say that was a little weird. So it started off fine. Okay, you know how mode may be this, that's fine. Then like the whole, I don't know. For me, it was just like when the whole weird like fucking bizarre equals power thing. I was just kind of like, oh, okay, that's just weird. Man, no. You have any more closing thoughts or what?
No, like just to throw this out here, just to throw a hook. If he ever sees it, I don't think he will. If he wants to discuss more or have a debate on it, I'm happy to debate him. Any JoJo kind of usual. Let's go.
All right. Well, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for your time as always. Have a nice day, and I'll see you guys on next streamer video. Take care, everybody.